stop subsidizing. And we don't need more pipelines. That's all.
Evelyn, do you have any response?
Sure, although I'm going to essentially side with Mary. I'm someone who cares very much about environmental issues. I've worked with Greenpeace Canada for quite a while, and I know, like, pipelines are just, it's not the way to go forward. And obviously, yes, at the moment, we can't just shut down the ones that we have, so it's not as easy as just saying, let's do that. But in terms of building new ones, unfortunately, sorry, I'm against that. I'm the generation who wants to see wind power, solar, geothermal. We have the opportunity of doing these. There might need to be a bit more research and, time and energy into those, but we have the ability to do that, and it makes me so angry that we're still stuck on pipelines and nuclear and all these dirty forms of energy that are destroying the planet. And let's be honest, my generation is going to be the one stuck dealing with this for who knows how many generations. So the fact that we're still talking about having more pipelines, sorry, no, I'm not going to agree with you on that.
I'm going
Next
to make one final statement on this. Energy in this country is really, really important. Oil is important because everything you see in this room has got an oil derivative attached to it. Yes, we need to clean up the CO2 in the air. Yes, we need to electrify our transportation, our tires, our asphalt. That's all made out of oil. And if you think we're going to get off oil, we're not thinking in the right way here.
Thank you
oil
very
is a
much,
major
Tony.
piece of our business. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. We have actually somebody that's under 25 here. It's wonderful to see young people engaged. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Hi, James here. I'm involved with the student vote this election at St. Paul's Secondary School. If there's one message all the candidates would like to send to young Canadians, what would it be?
The question is, what would your message be to young Canadians? And let's start with Evelyn.
No, I didn't hear the question.
He would like to know what the what message would you like to send to young Canadians? Evelyn, go ahead.
Well, as someone who's probably only not too much older than you, I can definitely say I would love to be able to give some words of wisdom. I don't have as many years of experience as Charles here. I hope to have some in the future if he allows me. But I'd say definitely it's the fact that, this is our future that we're talking about, and there needs to be more involvement in politics and everything from younger generations, but because you see right now that the youth are so out of touch with what's going on in the world, and they're also frustrated because they see that nothing's being done. There's not a future that's being built for them that they can even have hope for. And that's something that I really am going to strive for, because I have a younger sister and brother, and I worry about their future, and I want to be able to say that I took a stand on things, and I made an effort, and I made my voice heard. So making sure that you are absolutely not afraid to stand up and say, this is what's important, I want to be heard, and that's final.
I think it was President Reagan, Evelyn, that once said, "I will not make youth an issue in this election." I may be older, but I'm not old, and I am. I'm very youthful. This is a great question from St. Paul's Secondary. So I have 3 children. They're adults now, and they're all trying to get on with life. My daughter's here in the front row. And I got to tell you, I learn more from my kids than I do from adults, because they are the ones that are comparing their generation versus mine when we had opportunities that they don't seem to have. But they know a lot more than I did at their age, I find. And affordability is a big issue. Now, we're going to have a lot of succession. The guys in the senior years are going to pass over their homes to their children. But that's not the way it should be. They should be able to get into the market and build up some equity. They should be able to do some stuff. They need those starter homes. So we're going to build 500,000 new starter homes in Canada. Mark Carney and the Liberal Party of Canada has put forward a real plan to accelerate some of those homes. We actually have what's called the Accelerator Fund, working with the municipality here in Mississauga, who have a housing plan together with other developers to pay their DC charges so that they can lower the overall cost of those houses, to lower GST to 0 so that they can buy some of those homes. But more than that, you have access to information that my generation didn't have. And you are actually so much more capable of success than I think some of our people were. I look to you to be the next leader, to be the driver of our economy, to ensure that we can do this better. We work together, we'll get there. We have to listen to all generations to make sure it happens, and I'm encouraged by what I see happening, so congrats to you.
James, thank you for the question, and thanks for coming out tonight. I love to see young people who are engaged. I am a mom of 3 young adults. They're all off at school. I really wish that the election didn't fall during the end of their university school thing, because they're not around to help me. That would have been nice, but anyways. They're busy in exams right now. The message I give them all the time, right, is number 1, be true to who you are. Don't let the world around you tell you who you're going to be and what you're going to do. Follow your heart. Lead with passion. Lead with courage. And on an electoral part, get out and vote, as well as get out and get involved, right? And I encourage anyone here, and any of your friends, come door knocking with any of us, right? Have a heart-to-heart normal conversation. I think we're a good 3 people up here, but get involved. Give back to your community. The wonderful groups that have come together to put this on tonight. There's a lot of things that we can do. It doesn't take a lot, but if we all do something little, it makes a huge difference, right? So thank you for coming out, and thanks for the question.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anna, and I'm from the Park Royal Community Association. My question is about immigration and housing. Will you adjust immigration levels to account for housing shortages, or do you see these as 2 separate issues?
And the topic is immigration and housing. And Charles, you go ahead on this.
Yeah, it's a good question. We talked about it briefly already. I believe it needs to be right-sized. As I mentioned, I want to make sure we have more economic immigrants, at least 75% coming to Canada to enable us to all succeed. We need infrastructure supports. We need housing supports in order to accommodate that influx. Now, many properties that exist in Canada are owned by immigrants, and they're rented out. A lot of the condos downtown Toronto, they're actually owned offshore or by others who don't even live in Canada. And that's because we don't have enough purpose-built rentals and social housing projects to support those that are going to come to Canada. And of course, that influx also creates higher prices of homes because suddenly there's a cost increase. And I remember when I put forward a bill that prevented speculators from flipping houses and crowding out principal owners, new families trying to buy those homes. They buy multiple properties, they hold the papers. A year later, they sell them for a much greater cost without enabling those families to get in on the market. So those are the measures that we've tried to help. But your question is, would we lower immigration levels? Absolutely. I don't think we can support as many as we've had because Canada's not in that position. We need immigrants. Listen, immigrants and that young kid, they're going to support your pension. They're the ones that are going to help us pay for CPP as we go forward. We need an influx and a continuity, but it has to be measured and it has to be adequate.
Go ahead, Mary.
For sure. Yes, I think our government, and I'm going to blame all 338 seats in the House of Commons, not just one party or the other, all of them, right? We failed when we opened immigration and didn't have adequate housing for people coming into our country, right? It's a failure of us as people. It's a failure of our government on so many levels. And because of it, it's caused crisis for individuals already living here for housing, right? So in the 60s and 70s, and I'm a resident of Port Credit. I live in a building that was built in the late 60s. There was a lot of purpose-built rental built in this country because we had an influx of immigration, mostly from Europe.